You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy.
And now, the hunt for the perfect album.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hunt for the Perfect Album with Billy and Dave, where this week it was Dave's choice. Why don't you tell the people what you gave me?
I gave you an album by, I think, certainly these days, kind of underappreciated Aussie or Perth-based band, Eskimo Joe. My favourite album of theirs, Black Fingernails, Red Wine.
Yeah, from 2006.
2006.
It's so interesting to hear you refer to them as underrated. And I mean, like, yes, these days they have, I don't know if they're still going. Do you still follow Eskimo Joe?
I haven't listened to anything in quite a while. They loomed fairly large in the late 90s, I guess.
Yeah.
And this was probably this or maybe the one after, were the last album that I kind of ever really heard about. I'm sure they're probably still going.
Because I gotta say, I was I'm not gonna lie, I was hesitant going into this because Black Fingernails, Red Wine, the song itself, was gigantic. I don't know if it was like this all over the world, but certainly in Australia in 2006 when this song came out, it was everywhere. It was on radio 40 fucking times a day. It was played in shopping centers. It was all
It's definitely
over.
one of their bigger hits, probably.
Yeah, and I've got to be honest, I don't like that song.
Oh, wow, I wish I'd known that. I wouldn't have given you the album.
So coming into this, I was really kind of a bit hesitant. And so, you know, it works out well that we had quite a bit of a break before recording this because I was able to listen to this quite a few times. But why don't you tell us, you know, how you came to this album and...
I was aware of the band prior to this album.
Yeah.
I really like their just general sound.
Yeah.
I think he's got a really great distinctive voice.
Very distinctive, yeah.
And you know, I was just a fan. They were one of the Aussie bands at that point in time, kind of just post-uni, I guess it would have been.
Yeah.
Where I could always pick their songs and they were always catchy. They were always, you know, not super alternative, but kind of alternative enough that they weren't. They didn't feel super mainstream, and I just kind of liked them. And then this album came out, and as you say, the title song got a lot of airplay.
Yeah.
But I loved it. So it made it. That was a big hook for me. And then they had like 3 or 4 other singles off this album that I really liked. Well,
that's what I was going to say. I was surprised. I knew that I knew Black Fingernails, Red Wine. Coming into this, though, I was surprised at how many other songs I had heard before. I didn't think that I knew much else of Eskimo Joe, but there's at least 2 other tracks that once they started, I was like, oh, this song. I didn't know this was Eskimo Joe. This was just a song that I knew. So let's get straight into it then. Track 1, Comfort You, comes on. And like I said, I was tepid starting the album because I was not a fan of Black Fingernails, Red Wine. But I really dug this. It's virtually an instrumental track, and I really enjoyed track 1. And honestly, that set the tone for this album for me, and I really, really enjoyed this album.
Oh, awesome!
I think
you teased me for a bit there.
I was so hesitant. I still don't love the title track, but it has grown on me. But I mean, this album, in a lot of ways, it's very reminiscent to me of The Cure. There's a lot of bass forward tracks.
Yep.
It's very kind of it's a very interesting blend of indie rock and indie pop. It's an indie pop album at heart, but with very very rock forward elements.
And I think the they're very accomplished musically, and I think that really comes
For
through.
sure,
They're very, very well-made tracks.
Yeah, so I was really surprised. Then track 2, New York, comes on, and this was the first.
You must have heard this before.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
This was a track that I was like, oh, this song. I had no idea this was Eskimo Joe. I don't know where I've heard this song, but I knew it. I was able to sing along. Like,
Could blame us under pressure. I know I should have stayed in bed. I know I should have stayed in bed.
it must have been used in a movie or TV show or something.
It was. I mean, it was like the title track. It was played a lot when it came out, and I think almost more than any song in their entire discography, that highlights what an incredible, unique voice he's got. Not just his voice, but his intonation. Like, should have stayed in bed.
Oh,
like,
there are some. I'm not going to
so
lie. There
unique
are
sounding.
some tracks on this album where his like inflections and stuff annoyed me. There's one. Look, let's jump ahead. Track 6, London Bombs.
Oh,
I don't think he's saying the word bombs. I think he's saying like bombs. Like, it doesn't even sound like bombs. I like the song,
London
but
bombs.
it annoys me.
Wrapped about my ankles to the bottom of the ocean. That I'll stay forever until you come back from England. The London bound.
He's not saying bombs.
Bounds.
Bounds.
You know what bounds are?
Bounds. It's like Tannenbaum.
London bounds.
I really like that song actually.
Oh,
Like jumping it.
That's probably in my top 2 songs on this album.
It's like honestly, it's gonna be hard for me to pick a favorite. I mean, look, staying jumped ahead because I'm gonna skip Black Fingernails, Red Wine because everyone in the world has heard it. Maybe we'll play.
Oh,
it
we
out.
have US listeners. Play it out at the end.
Okay. Sarah was another one that I was like, I swear I know this song. Was this one of the singles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's certainly got radio airplay and stuff. It's another one that, along with New York and London Bombs, is the one that people probably may have heard, I think.
Okay, because it's another track I really like.
Yeah.
Won't you tell me your name? I've been waiting here for hours in the garden by the flowers. You're so shy, so just open your eyes. The boys off on the line to be written out in time. A long, 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 long time ago.
Yeah, really dig that song. Oh yeah, here's the chorus.
I think I am falling apart.
Yeah,
It's
like
really
you say,
good.
very accomplished musicians. Very enjoyable album. Like my one kind of, not even a critique. It is a little samey, but I don't think that's a bad thing. Like half the albums I've given you on the show, all the songs are quite similar in tempo and tone.
I think a lot of it's as well, when you've got someone that's got a super distinctive voice,
yeah.
it's hard not to have a bit of a kind of a similarity through all the tracks, because every time a song starts, like, oh, it's that guy again.
Yeah.
If life is bigger, then why do you see you're no better than me? If this is pressure, show me how do you bleed?
That's one of those songs that really is reminiscent of The Cure for me. I think there's just something about that riff
I can
and
get
the
that.
production of it. But that's another song. He's not saying pressure. He's saying pressure. Is that how people from Perth talk?
I don't know. We need to get Paul on.
I just want to go back. It was either Breaking Up or Setting Sun that I think
Setting Sun's another good one.
Handful of sand.
Okay, not that one. Hang on. that's my pick for favorite song. So that's my pick for the playlist. I really, really loved that song. That it's that bass riff at the start that opens it, and that piano. It's very kind of reminiscent of The Cure. So it's no surprise that I like that song so much. I do find that the album doesn't end as strong as it starts. I quite like Reprise. But Suicide Girl and How Does It Feel, I'm a little weaker on. I think that they're not the strongest tracks to end on.
It's definitely front. Like you've got all 4 of the singles kind of in the first 2/3, and Setting Sun, which I think is on par with those.
Yeah.
And then fair point.
Big fan of that instrumental track as well. I think that the entire album has a really nice and interesting vibe and tone for me. It's very atmospheric. Like even having those kind of instrumental tracks in there is not something that a lot of bands would do, especially a band at their kind of peak like this.
100%.
It's very, it's very. I can't remember who it was we spoke about recently, where you could tell that they were trying to write singles. And it's funny, this is a band where even though this album has several very huge tracks on it, not once do you feel like they were written as a single. That it doesn't ever feel like any of these songs were commercialized or anything. Like
I think there's a
were
really
just
nice
writing what they wanted
cohesion to the album. It feels like an album,
100%,
which I guess is kind of what we're trying to celebrate here. It does feel like time has been spent in because as with every album, I'm sure there were tracks that didn't make the album when they're putting it together, but it feels like a lot of thought has gone into both the track selection, the track order, even though as we say it is a little bit kind of front loaded, but there is a trajectory to the album where you're starting with that kind of instrumental easing in, and then you kind of really ramp up through tracks sort of 3 through 6, I guess, where you've got your big belters, and then there's a kind of a nice journey that you take listening to it.
So honestly, you surprised me big time with this one. Like I said, I was not expecting to enjoy this album anywhere near as much as I did, because my memory was only of the title track, which, as I said, and even that, I don't think it's a bad song. Part of it is probably just that it was so overplayed at the time.
It's really it's always so sad because a lot of the time Gautier is a prime example.
Oh yeah,
there were a few years where I couldn't fucking listen to that song because it was so. But that song is a masterpiece, and I now love it again because I had a bit of a break. But it's unfortunately something that happens quite a lot, where you get a song that is so popular, usually because it's good.
Yeah.
You generally don't get that much airplay when you're shit.
Yeah.
And it ends up with people going, "Oh fuck, I'm really over it. I can't listen to it anymore." Eiffel 65. Oh boy, they suffered.
So I'm a 7 out of 10 on this.
Solid, nice.
I'm not gonna buy it on vinyl, but I reckon there's at least 3 or 4 tracks that
I don't own it on vinyl.
Playlists.
I do own Best of Eskimo Joe, and if you're going to buy anything, I'd get that because it gives you all the best stuff off here. May not have Comfort You, I can't remember, but they've got 3 or 4 really belter songs off other albums, and
nice. All right, well there you go. Next week I am going to give you a very recent album. I'm going to give you one that came out only last year or the year before last.
Oh wow.
Band out of the States called Rat Boys.
What?
Rat Boys.
Punk
No,
band?
not punk. Honestly, I don't know how you'd define them.
Rat Boys sounds punk.
I'm gonna say bubble grunge. They're very much in the same realm as Charlie Bliss and the Beths and Beach Bunny. They're in that kind of realm.
Rat Boys, you say?
Rat Boys. Which I mean, my guess would be they're named after a Simpsons reference. So I don't know if you remember. Yeah.
Right.
And who could forget
Okay.
Dear Rat Boy?
Of course.
But anyway,
Okay.
I'm a massive, massive fan of Rat Boys. They've been going, I want to say 2010 was their first album. I've loved every album they've put out, but I genuinely believe that this most recent album of theirs, The Window, is a masterpiece. So The Window by Rat Boys is what I'm giving you next week, and I hope you enjoy it. But in the meantime, let's play people out with a little bit of Black Fingernails Red Wine.
Yes.
Black fingernails, red wine. I wanna make you all mine. A lot of people underground. You wanna get there, you gotta go straight.